Hey, what up? It's Brad with Home Love Construction, and in this video, I'm going to answer what is the difference between trusses versus rafters. If you've ever heard those words, they mean two different things. They are not the same, and if you say them to a contractor, realize that they mean very different things. So I want you to be well prepared for your project when you get into it, and so that you can know A, what you're being sold potentially by contractors and designers, and B, what you're going to get and what the consequences of that are. So to put it simply, rafters are just single boards that create a roof structure. They are typically used for a flat roof. However, and they're, maybe something like that, just slightly tilted, but they'd make it out of something like 2x12s. If you are doing a roof that has a pitch to it that's shaped like that, and you're gonna have it built out of rafters, that is what's called conventional framing. Typically, when you see a house that has a pitch like that, the roof structure is built out of our next topic, which is trusses. The reason that is because they can use less wood, span a larger distance, and they can be built in a factory than just set in place on site. If you've ever seen a new house going up maybe on the highway or something, you'll see the cranes out there and they'll be setting the trusses in on top of the already framed or built or framed walls. And that is how you set the trusses, is literally you just set them. The other way with rafters, you have to build them in place, like literally build them together, doing what's called conventional framing. So that's the major difference in the construction. Now, as far as the inside of them, obviously, or maybe not so obviously, if you have a flat roof that's made out of rafters that are just laid on the block or wood walls, there's no attic in that. There's no attic space. And your ductwork has a very small square hole between rafters to come through. Your electrical has small, and if for some reason you had to run plumbing through there, there's very little space. Now, you also don't have access to that. Once it's closed, you insulate under there, you close it up with drywall from underneath, the roofing goes on top. You cannot get into that space ever again without removing drywall or roofing and plywood, which, obviously wouldn't recommend that. With trusses, you get an attic space in there. So if you run something through the attic, you can just get in, maintain it, repair it, replace it, whatever you need to do inside an attic. You can also add more insulation into an attic than you can in rafters. In rafters, you have that limited space. In trusses, you have that big thing. Now keep in mind that you could be using rafters to build a pitched roof and doing that conventional framing, but typically you're gonna see trusses if you have a pitched roof like that. So that said, my recommendation is if you have the budget for it, use trusses in your build. It usually does cost more than doing a flat roof with rafters, but the use down the road far exceeds anything that's built with rafters, and there tend to be less issues with pitched roof versus a flat roof. Just from a waterproofing perspective, it makes sense. Water goes downhill. If it's got a steep pitch, it runs downhill. It isn't more likely to come in versus a flat roof. It can sit, it can puddle, things can happen. So my recommendation, use trusses whenever possible. However, sometimes there's times when you can't. In that case, just know what you're getting into and be sure that your project is planned properly for all the stuff that has to go up between the rafters. If you got some value out of this video, which I really hope you did, because I really get this question a lot and I feel like it's a big confusion for people, please hit the subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. If you need help designing a project in the Tampa Bay area or outside of it, we also do virtual design services as well. You can have our help with that by going to homelove.construction/design. That is how you get in touch with our design team to start the process of doing a project. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your attention. See you in the next vid. Peace.